Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello everybody, I'm Harper Stone, and I'm a tabletop role-playing game playtester and fledgling game designer. Last year, I released a solo journaling game using the Wretched and Alone system. It's called Love Me Till the Last Bomb Falls, and it's a game about embracing queer love and building community in the face of impending doom. You can find my games over on Itch, and you can find me on Blue Sky at Harper's Ferry. That's Fairy spelled Faerie. Well, friends, before we dive into why I love Mount & Blade Warband, I need to let you all in on a little bit of a secret. I'm kind of a daydreamer. Some of my fondest memories of being a kid were the times where I lived in the fantasy world inside my own head. I remember this one time I was dragged all the way to Madison Square Garden to watch my sister's dance recital at a New York Knicks game. Apparently she was good enough to, perform at the Knicks, but do I remember her dancing or the basketball game? No, of course not. What I remember was receding into my winter coat like I was a Jawa and imagining that I was in the Mega Man Battle Network universe. I was thinking about who would my net navvy be? Who would our friends be? What adventures would we get on together? Wait. Where am I going with this? Mount & Blade Warband is a game that you can truly lose yourself in, like walking through a daydream. At face value, it's a medieval open-world sandbox RPG with indie 2010 graphics, and it really starts like many other games, building a character. Character creation takes the form of a series of prompts. Rather than starting out by selecting from a list of stats and skills, I was asked, who was my father? Was he a noble? A merchant? A thief? What did my character do in her early life and adulthood? Was I a student? A street urchin? Was I a smith? Or perhaps even a poacher? Lastly, why was I adventuring? Is it revenge? Loss? Wanderlust? Is it the desire for money and power? Or was the choice to adventure not really mine at all? Yes, each of these choices are tied to attributes, skills, and weapon proficiencies, but when I first played Mount & Blade Warband as a teenager, I didn't know any of that. I was immediately taken into my fantasy world thinking of who I was going to be. Well, obviously, I wanted to be a knight. So my father was a warrior, and I'm out fighting for revenge for his loss. Then as quickly as I finished my character, I got to choose which caravan I wanted to be on. I chose the caravan to the Kingdom of Vagers, and I was off. The game takes place in the land of Calradia, a map which spans 6 kingdoms that are in a constant flux of war and peace. And yet, this game provides you with no clear personal goals or objectives. And honestly, that's kind of the magic of it. I started traveling, building a mercenary band, trading, fighting bandits, meeting NPCs in the world, listening to their story, and then recruiting them to my cause. Wait, my cause? What exactly is my cause? Well, by this point in the game, I'd been fighting bandits and building up renown for my heroics in combat. The lords of the lands, they're starting to take notice of me, and they're starting to respect me. Some of them will give me simple quests. Then eventually, one kingdom decides to recruit me as a mercenary, and okay, I guess I work for them now? I guess that's my cause, I fight for them, right? Because they recruited me? Well, very soon into working for this kingdom, I started stationing myself near the edge of our border with an enemy kingdom. We were in active war with this kingdom, and I was at a small castle that barely had a garrison. Suddenly, an enemy army began besieging the castle, and I thought to myself, if I abandon the garrison, this castle is surely gonna fall. And of course, my allies, they must be coming, right? Like, they have to be. I just need to hold out until they arrive. Well, friends, next thing I know, I'm way in over my head. My band of small warriors and the castle garrison were defending the walls from an invasion force that's 4 times our own size. Our archers are raining down hellfire on the enemy army as their siege engines are grinding across the grass as they approach us. I poke my head out to see the foes in front of me, and the archer who's standing directly next to me is struck in the head with an arrow. That was how I learned a very important lesson of siege warfare. It's never really advantageous for me to poke my head out to get a look on the enemy when all I decided to equip myself with is a sword. Anywho, it's not long before they're upon us. The siege engine comes crashing down, and my band and I defend the enemy's single entryway like we're the Spartans at Thermopylae. By the end of the battle, we're victorious. My shield, by the way, had long since broken away, and I wielded this tattered shield of one of my fallen foes. It was like the second or third, maybe even fourth I'd picked up in that fight, after all of my other combat replacements just shattered under the blows of enemy blades. Once my shining silver armor, it was now, by the end of this fight, painted a dark red. It was that moment that I realized that this would forever be one of my favorite games of all time. I basically aimlessly stumbled my way into the defending side of a siege, and mind you, there was no quest in this game telling me that I should defend this castle, and I just kind of did it because I felt like, well, that's what I should do, right? Like, they're attacking, and these are my guys, and, like, I experienced what it must have felt like to be Rocky Balboa taking down Apollo Creed. I swear I felt like Jon Snow during the Battle of the Bastards. Like, I was up against a wall against unbeatable odds, yet somehow I prevail and I'm the underdog in my own story. Perhaps one of the reasons it is so easy to immerse yourself in Mount & Blade Warband is because of how effective the combat system is and making you feel like you're a medieval goddess of battle. This was the first game that I had ever played where it wasn't like just click here to swing sword, or like click for light swing and maybe hold for a heavy swing. When you use a sword in this game, you have to choose a direction. Are you going to swing left to right? Are you cutting down from above? Are you stabbing inward towards your enemy? And well, attacks can be blocked directionally as well. Nothing in this game feels better than seeing a strike that is destined for your flesh, and the game confirming that you parried because you hear that sweet, sweet sound of steel clanking on steel. Let me be honest with myself for a minute. So last year I got into HEMA longsword fencing, and I'd be lying if I told you that you couldn't draw a pretty direct line from how Warband combat first made me feel to me eventually signing up for my first fencing class. Mount & Blade Warband is truly my favorite sandbox because of how plain it is. This game gives you enough levers and buttons to stay intrigued, but it is so aggressively simple that it sparks your own creativity, and that creativity takes over and tells a better story in your head than the game could ever write in front of you. The core gameplay loop, it's simple enough. Recruit soldiers, train them in battle, build renown across the lands to allow yourself to get a bigger army so that you can fight in even bigger battles to gain even more renown, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. But what Mount & Blade Warband never tells you as a player is the why. That, my friends, is for you to decide yourselves. Happy gaming.
Hey, Nerf herders.
You sure you want to go with that?
Hey, everyone?
There we go. More inviting.
Have you ever had a movie that you really wanted to love, but something holds you back?
Or one that you did love in spite of a flaw?
Well, I'm Case Aiken.
And I'm Sam Alisea.
And on Another Pass, we sit down with cool guests to look at movies that we find fascinating.
But flawed.
And we try to imagine what could have been done when they were made to give them that little push.
We're not experts. We just believe in criticism.
Constructive criticism.
Sure.
So come take another pass at some movies with us.
And every now and then, we can celebrate movies that did it on their own, too.
You can find us at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Pass it on.
CPOV.
certainpov.com.